This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we're out Ubering again in the middle of the coronavirus situation. We primarily switched over to food delivery, and we're being discretionary on our regular rider pickups. We've got Lysol, we've got Clorox, we got a facial mask if we have to use one. It's kind of dangerous, but we are necessary if you think about it. I take Amazon truck drivers to their trucks. I take grocery workers to work. I take Target workers to work. Without a lot of cab companies today, people would not be able to help you. So, thank your Uber drivers for taking care of you. And if we start having trouble, you might have to, think about when we have our GoFundMes and we have other things like supporting your local Uber drivers if they run into a crisis. Now we get back to the music. This is all about music. We have put all of our interviews with bands on hold, and we are focusing on Phantom Electric Ghost or PEG, expansive sound music. The last night we wrote a song called Punk Aesthetic is the Truth, and this song is our kind of real, Josephine's feeling that, indie punk inspired raw emotion is more, it actually kicks more, it pulls on the heart more than something that's created from like Fruity Loops or a DAW. And it's her opinion, and her opinion is my opinion. And I've interviewed the artists that are in the EDM world and trance world, and I understand that genre and dance music, and that type of music has a place. But we're always gonna love kind of like that pure, blues, rock, country, musicians that Prince used to say, musicians created by real musicians, and producers are producers, musicians are musicians. I like to play a keyboard. I trained on a keyboard, and that's where I live. And modular synthesis has been in the last 5 years my big passion. Learning how to kind of woo the muse in these analog machines has been like I said, a big passion. Once you have a hold of an analog synth, you've got something very magical. Like Moog himself indicated that he felt the universe was talking to him when he created his Moogs. And the thing about when you play a Moog, you can come back to it. You could create a patch and then you turn it on, and it doesn't sound the same as it did before. Now, for those of you who are in the DAW world that want perfect sound and want a replication sound, that might be something that you say, well, I don't like that. But when you're a creative and you're looking for the muse, there's nothing like having a Moog modular or semi-modular synth that when you approach it, it automatically gives you new inspiration. And if you've got something like I could spend a couple of weeks having something wired up a certain way, and then suddenly I say, you know what? I'm just going to unplug everything and start from scratch. And that sound design, it's not just song creation. You spend a couple hours doing sound design to develop your very unique tone. You don't have to worry about somebody suing you because you took a clip or you took a beat. We create all of our beats from analog drum machines or digital drum machines that we actually create the patterns. We create all of our melodies from our own playing. And so it's like we don't have to worry about somebody coming back and saying that we took something. Not that, hip-hop, we love the Bomb Squad, we love De La Soul, we love old school hip-hop. There's a great place for that in the world, and there is a level of artistry in what the Bomb Squad did, what De La Soul did, and I was like, De La Soul is dead, and 3 Feet High and Rising, and Public Enemy and Nation of Millions It Takes to Hold Us Back. I mean, these albums are classic, and there's a lot of actual development in sound design in those records. For example, in the Nation of Millions, like the use of kind of like biting sirens and noises and aggressive, noises that you probably wouldn't put on a record. that was super creative. And so there are things you can do as a producer that can put you in the artistry mode that you know, you're like a Brian Eno, you're like a George Martin, you're doing something very developed. And then there's the other side of it where you're taking recycled beats and trying to create the same thing over and over, and that's kind of mind numbing. That's the kind of thing we don't really dig in music. We're more into like people who are expanding horizons. You know, our like if you look at our favorite music, we look at like Sun Ra, very awesome, innovative jazz band. One of the first jazz bands to actually have a Moog when the Moogs came out in the 50s. And we look at somebody like Jimi Hendrix, who really broke all the barriers in terms of sound design on a guitar, to the level that Electric Ladyland has sounds that, you know, a progressive band like a Yes or a Genesis would like look to be inspired. And I've been inspired by the stuff he did for years. I've got massive Hendrix collection. And you look at a band like the Doors, the Ray Manzarek, you know, the keyboard playing on there. You look at Greg Allman, who's like an unsung, you know, Hammond B3 genius. So I've been very inspired by multiple influences. Again, the punk aesthetic I've talked about for years. I grew up liking bands like the Butthole Surfers, the Replacements, Who's To Do, The Clash, Joy Division, Orange 9mm. The punk aesthetic, what I like about it, you know, when everybody saw what happened with Kurt Cobain when he came on the scene, and Pearl Jam when they came on the scene, the thing about it that really people wanted was, you know, after the kind of hair band, MTV, New Wave era, it seemed like things were kind of fake, or they seemed like they were too corporate, or they seemed like it was not, you know, coming from the heart. And Kurt Cobain, there's like this kind of brutal honesty and a punk aesthetic that was very inspiring. And then what Pearl Jam did with Eddie Vedder and his social lyrics, social dynamic lyrics about, you know, the world and domestic violence and drug abuse and anomie and dissipation, that just like it became refreshing. And then, you know, we had bands like Smashing Pumpkins that were grunge, but more still continuing what Yes was doing, what Pink Floyd was doing with big concepts, which I still appreciate. I mean, I'm a big concept guy. I mean, I love Tommy, I love Quadrophenia, I mean, I like Styx, I like Pink Floyd, I like any band that comes up with a concept. I like Tyler, the Creator, because he has this kind of progressive nature to his hip hop that kind of feels like, you know, a hip hop Tommy or Quadrophenia when you listen to a lot of his records, like from Wolf to Cherry Bomb to Igor. They've always been like concept records. And, you know, Kendrick Lamar, his albums are all concept records. They're meant to be heard in this tradition of the 70s as a full project, not a playlist. And so we've been working on an album called Dark Ghost for the last 2 years. It's the result of a breakup of a partnership where we felt very hurt by the scenario. We felt the person was not very forthright, not really as dedicated to music as we are. I mean, we record every day. We record with a passion. We're very much, you know, music is like our lifeblood. And somebody comes along and pretends to be that passionate and then doesn't really put the effort. And we put a lot of resources together. We actually had gotten you know, professional artists to do the cover of the project. We had everything lined up. We had, you know, working on trying to get it to a vinyl, and they just like, okay, there was some kind of situation, and they just let the whole thing go, and it felt very destructive and not very inviting. And then also they kind of pretended to be a friend, and you know, the thing that really kind of hurt us is like during the holiday season, you know, we sent a Christmas card. We felt like, okay, maybe at the least you should send like a card. You should say something about, you know, oh, have a happy holiday or do something. And they just totally didn't do anything. It was just all about them. And then that's why we kind of went crazy and we kind of went off and we just cut the cord in a kind of fit of passion in that we felt, well, if we have this kind of partnership and we have this falling out, eventually we'll have a conversation and try to work it out. But that person was so into their ego and felt they were supposed to be so enamored with them that they couldn't figure out a way to come back to the project, and that's disappointing. And it really hurt me for a long time. And a lot of songs I've written in the last 2 years have been about it. This song is more of a punk song about the feeling of anomie, which is like social dislocation and disappointment. It's really more like just like a flip your finger type of song, give the bird type of song, to kind of get out some feelings. So we hope that you enjoy this song. Again, one of the big features in this song is the use of the Moog Mother 32 with the Make Noise Math module, which we've been getting better and better at understanding the low frequency oscillator capabilities and the exponential and logarithmic capabilities of the sound design of that module. What's cool about that module is you can bring multiple controlled voltage VCA signals or triggers into it, and then it has its own kind of self-oscillating capability, and you can slow the LFOs down to a very slow rate. You can speed them up to a very fast rate where you actually get the same thing that you get on a Moog. Like on a Moog, there's a trick where the LFO can become a full oscillator because they basically have created the modulation capability on the Mother 32 and well, mostly on the grandmother and the matriarch have the ability for the LFO to become oscillators. They also have the ability for on the grandmother for the resonance and the drone and the spring reverb to become oscillators. That you can actually play with the keyboard or play with the sequencer. And so one of the other tricks we've been doing on a lot of our songs is because we have the Moog drummer from another mother on the DFAM, we have extended the drum capabilities of our DFAM. If anybody who has a DFAM understands it only has an 8-step sequencer, so a lot of people with DFAMs actually get 2 or 3 of them, and then use that to actually extend the capability. But then you're talking about an $1,800 machine, and they're $600 each. But what we've done is we've taken the advanced clock out into the sequencer of the grandmother on the gate in, and then we take the pitch and the velocity and bring it into the second oscillator, use oscillator sync, and utilize the resonance and the cutoff of the low pass filter, plus we're using a attenuverter and we're using the high pass filter as well. So what happens is if we go take the resonance and go all the way to the right, we get a kind of prog rock sound. If we go all the way to the left, we end up getting the drums coming in. If we go kind of in the middle, we get both a DFAM drum and a kind of prog rock fourth oscillator sound. We've been utilizing that with the modulation wheel, which allows you to turn on the LFO or not turn it on. We've been getting a lot of interesting drum beats, and plus also the sequencer on the grandmother is 256 steps, and there are actually 3 sequences of 256 that you can store. You can't store the sound unless you kept the patch the same, and you turn it on the next day, you might have it slightly the same. It might be a little bit different, but what that does is it gives us a very organic feel. We've been able to get like timpani and snare drums and kind of tribal drums and techno drums and cymbals and very unique organic sounding percussion that has a lot of depth and vibrance. And so we've been using that. We also use as a drum machine in a lot of our songs, not this one, an Arturia uh, Beat Step Pro tied to a JDXI, and the JDXI, kind of like the new Jupiter X M and X, has a bunch of Roland drum machines built into it. Now, within the JDXI capability, it's limited in how many bars you can run. But what we've done is we've accessed that drum machine with the BeatStep Pro, which has the ability to extend, kind of like the Moog grandmother extends the DFAM. And so we've been using that for years, since 2016, to make very extensive, long drum sections in chain patterns, which equate to songs. And we also have done the technique of just running the tape and manually triggering different patterns and projects on the BeatStep Pro. But the other technique on the Moog DFAM is to actually, record live and then play the filter or play the knobs on the DFAM and the grandmother as it's recording, and then that creates, different sections, different drum patterns in real time. And so a lot of times that's what we do on a song, and in that case what happens is that's a very unique pattern. It's hard to actually replicate because you've done it manually. So it has a lot of organic, kind of free jazz kind of aspects, which is why we like bands like Sun Ra. And then, in order to stabilize that, it's like, okay, well, if somebody wants to hear that song exactly like we did it, we use the Zoom R24 and put that down on a track. And then if we have to replicate that song, we can just use our R24, which is more stable than any PC. We actually played in New York City and Boston with our R16 and opened up a channel and then played over existing patterns. So we were able to replicate songs from the album Something Wicked and Indigo Menace live in New York and Boston using that method, which is rock solid. And it's coming off, and unless your SD card becomes corrupt, which is like highly unlikely as to drop it or break it, you're able to replicate your songs exactly, and that's how we do it. And it's actually more, it's more stable than a laptop that maybe the battery runs out or somehow it can't get a good, it just glitches, the software glitches. It's like an incompatibility between Windows updated or Mac OS updated, and suddenly now your DAW software doesn't work, or something just glitches, and then you're like, oh, I need a backup, and then you have a bad kind of milli-vanilli type of performance. So we hope that you understand that we're out here Ubering 100% of the time to pay for our mortgage in this crisis, and that's rather dangerous. We hope that if you like our music, you become a supporter of the podcast. You can easily get us for 99 cents a month, and if you just did 99 cents one time, you could always cancel the subscription. So if you enjoy what we're doing, check out The Ghost. Please listen to our podcast. We get paid if you listen to it. Listen to our Spotify. We get paid if you listen to our Spotify. And download on Amazon and Apple Music our albums. Actually buy them there. This is another thing. Every artist that we've interviewed on this program is going to have a hard time this year because the tour not going to be able to tour. I would say implore everybody who listens to The Ghost, and if you like any of the artists you've listened to our interviews, please go to their Amazon, go to their Apple Music, go to their personal website, buy their merch, buy their albums. Because a lot of musicians are going to be hit really hard with this coronavirus. They're not able to do the big festivals. Working musicians today make most of their money from merch and touring. They don't make their money from the music, because the music industry doesn't really pay very well or pay that often. You have to be indie and work with a distributor like a Landar or a distro kid to get your money, and even then you don't get the kind of money you got in the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s. So again, please, if you like the bands that you've heard on this broadcast or any band you like, please support them. And also, we implore you to actually support us at 99 cents or $4.99 or $9.99 a month. You can always cancel after 1 month and just give us 1 month's worth of money. That would be very appreciated. Thank you very much. I am like a ghost signing off. This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and here's another episode diving into expansive sound. Last night, we worked on the song Things Are Starting to Go Wrong Quick, and this is another political electronic song. We started doing political electronic back with our first release in 2016 called Something Wicked, which is still available as a physical CD on Amazon.com. So if you're a PEG fan, go to Amazon.com, type in Phantom Electric Ghost. You'll see that we've got 4 CDs there. The Something Wicked, which is our first CD from 2016, Indigo Menace from 2016, and then Synesthesia Neo Soul Surrender from 2016, and then we have The Flower That Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb, which was totally done on the Teenage Engineering OP set. So we are again Uber driving in this coronavirus time, mostly doing Uber Eats deliveries. We're working on getting a full-time remote job, which we should have within a couple of weeks. And because of the government is going to be giving people unemployment, right now I'm going to have to turn my leased Uber in by the 24th, and then I'll be done. But I have to actually go to Boston and turn it in and take an Uber back home, so I'm kind of worried about the infection rate in Boston. So I'm going to put myself into a self-quarantine after I take that Uber ride back from Boston and stay in a room in my house. My wife and everything is setting it up. So I'll have my studio in my room, my bedroom, with a self-contained with the exercise equipment, my studio, a TV, and my computer and a bathroom. So that's what we're going to be doing. Again, this song, Things Are Starting to Go Wrong Quick, is our expression of what's going on in the world. We actually were at a mall in Nashua, New Hampshire, and we took some film. That's what the photo of this particular song is. It has the photo of me walking through the mall, and then I adjusted it to make it kind of have a cartoon black and white vibe. That's what it's in the video, plus some other stuff that we did. It's on Instagram and YouTube. What we did with this song is we experimented with our Drummer from Another Mother, which is an amazing drum machine. We have it linked again to our Moog Grandmother via the advanced clock out of the DFAM into the gate in of the Grandmother, and then we're also using again the velocity and the pitch CV coming out of the DFAM into the second oscillator, and we're also using sample and hold circuit on the Grandmother. We'll also have wired the high pass filter to run parallel with the low pass ladder filter, and we've got basically a 4th oscillator running off a drone with the resonance and the spring reverb. What's interesting in this song is the DFAM has a really interesting kind of FM sound, that kind of a bell-like sound we were able to get out of it. We were able to play with the VCF kind of cranked up to give it a really interesting tone. We actually created the pattern on the Grandmother using the keyboard to trigger the notes from the DFAM, and then using the Grandmother's 256-step sequencer to actually record the actual drum pattern. Then what we've done is also play with our Make Noise maths module tied to the Moog Mother 32, which is just a single oscillator semi-modular synth. But because we add connected to the math module, we add additional signal path with the 2 LFO options on the math module. Our math module is inside of an Arturia 6U Eurorack solution that we bought in 2017. We're also utilizing the Juno GI to actually, through MIDI on the Grandmother, on the Mother 32, play the lead lines that you hear that are very distorted. So it's basically the Mother 32, the DFAM, and the Grandmother, and we have a little bit of a System 1M going on to give it a little bit of heft. Again, as I said yesterday, please support all the bands that we've interviewed on this program. Go back over the last 2 years. We've interviewed maybe almost 30 bands. They're all not going to be able to tour. So what I implore you to do is go to Amazon, go to iTunes, and physically buy their records. Buy their CDs on vinyl at Amazon, download and purchase the album instead of streaming. If you can't do that, put your favorite artist on repeat for like a whole day and let it play like 100 times on some device that you're not using. And then that will actually, if you have unlimited data, it doesn't matter. If you have Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. That will help support your band. Please, I implore you to support all artists because they're going to be hurting because they can't do gallery shows, they can't do physical shows, they can't, get out there in front of you at these festivals. It's going to be very hard. Everybody's going to be on like welfare or on their nest egg, burning it out. Some bands might not survive this and come back if they don't get support from their fan base. I am self-funded. I do IT work. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do Uber work again until they actually get a solution, a vaccine, or an antiviral for this drug. It's potentially too risky to do that. So I don't know what's going to happen in the world in the next couple of weeks because I think a lot of Uber drivers are going to think it's too risky to do what we're doing other than doing delivery, and then even the government eventually might stop all delivery, might stop all restaurants for some period of time. So we, as the Ghost, are going to start doing YouTube and Twitch concerts from our self-isolation room. After we come back from Boston, we're going to do a lot of live concerts with our material. We're going to do like workshops showing how we use our Moog. We're going to do that until we get our full-time job. And even after we get our full-time job, it's all remote, so we'll probably do it at night when we're doing these sessions. I apologize for the noise, but I'm out going to get some supplies from my family before I hit the road doing Uber. So I will talk to you later. Please listen to this song. Please tweet it to other people. Give us feedback on a voice memo. We're not going to be interviewing bands again until we probably get out of self-isolation and we get a little more stable with a job. So we'll talk to you later. And this is Spam Like the Ghost signing off. Please stay safe out there. Practice social distancing as much as you can, given whatever your job is. Thank you for listening to Spam Like the Ghost.